collapse that only Pakistan could manufacture.
All Indian fans would have enjoyed a fair bit seeing their arch rivals Pakistan lose the plot completely in the space of just 12 overs. Going from a rather comfortable position at the score of 155 with both your best batters at the crease to suddenly being bundled over for just 191 in a World Cup ODI match. It really was a collapse only Pakistan could have manufactured. But it really just couldn't be Pakistan's habit of bottling on the big stage. And come to think of it, that wasn't also the result of some one-time wonder performance by India where everything just somehow fell into place. So, what really caused this collapse? The answer lies in the tactical genius of Rohit Sharma, the captain. That IPL captain we all rooted for when he took on this job for India. That captain and his strategic genius, which seemed to have been lost under the shadows of experimentation and pressure not too long ago. Series after series, criticisms were mounting upon the team, and as the World Cup dawned upon, so did the ghosts of the past failures. Everywhere he'd go, he was met with just pure negativity and lack of hope in his side and him. But this time, the stage was his playground, and all pieces of the jigsaw were there to be put together. Now it was time for the master to orchestrate his plans into reality. So in this video, we are going to look at the tactical brilliance of Rohit Sharma and what has led to India's dream run this World Cup. As we speak, India has become the first to qualify for the semi-finals. They've won all 7 of their games so far and sit comfortably at the top of the ladder. Right from the onset, India has been the team to beat. And it's not that they haven't been challenged at all. Neither is it the case of home advantage making so much of an impact that everything seems to be served on a platter for them. So what even is it that's worked so well for them? From how I look at it, there are 3 significant aspects of India's game that get them the edge over the opponents. And much of it has to be attributed to Rohit Sharma's leadership. As much as there had been criticism around India's constant experimentation and lack of clarity or even familiarity with roles in the past year or so, one has to appreciate the improved playing style of this Indian camp. There's a sense of being settled yet being flexible in the team, which has worked just about perfectly. And it's a combination that's hard to achieve or even explain. India's gameplay has been quite clear and straightforward so far. Leading from the front in this is Rohit Sharma himself, who's shed the role of being a traditional opener that goes safe at the start. Instead, he's taken the route of aggressively taking down the bowling attack right from the word go. Now there's 2 ways to look at his batting performances. Rohit so far has returned scores of a duck against Australia followed by a century against Afghanistan. There have been 2 80s and he's also scored 2 40s. He's played at an impressive strike rate of over 110 and has hit 26s in 7 games, the most by a batter so far. So if one has to be critical of his returns purely on individual basis, you could argue that as an opener and a senior batter, he has to convert his starts. Which to be fair isn't a bad argument, particularly when you look at his scores against Bangladesh and New Zealand. But the other side of the coin is the one to look at really. His aggressive take down the new ball approach has set the platform for India in all of its run chases so far. Firstly, to Rohit's advantage, he does find some assurance in his middle order with seasoned batters like Virat and KL to rely on. If he does get out early with his risky approach, the middle order can do some damage control. And now, with those flying starts, it has truly allowed the likes of Virat Kohli and KL Rahul to play their way of game. A comfortable score already on the board when they arrive provides with the luxury of some time to get their eye in and get settled on the crease. Therefore, India have found a rather comfortable balance of attack and defense in their batting. Let's have a look at their bowling roles as well. Bumrah is there to rattle up the opening batters with tight lines and tough angles straight away. Shami and Siraj are there to pounce upon and strike as soon as the opposition starts to get uneasy. And Kuldeep? Oh, he's simply in the form of his life, bowling at just the right pace to unsettle a batter with his added flight and a whole lot of spin. So yes, they really have imbibed a good change in the team's playing style. And yes, finally, there seems to be some clarity of rules. Now, to talk about the other facet of Rohit Sharma, the leader, the tactically meticulous captain. Let's go back to the all-hype clash between India and Pakistan we were talking about. The nerves among the player are usually pretty high, and as much as they're treated like just another match, when you're surrounded by some 10 million fans in a cauldron of a stadium like the Motera, deep inside, you really are anxious. But by the 28th over, the nerves usually do settle down. Pakistan at this stage have scored up to 130 runs and their two best batters are on the crease. This partnership, which had already reached its half century, could very well decide the fate of the match. So what does the Indian captain do to break this pair? The last 4 overs had been shared by Jadeja and Kuldeep and only 11 runs had come off them. It was time to strike on the pressure of low run rate. Siraj comes to the attack but gives away 11 runs in just the space of 4 balls. Mind you, the same amount of runs they took 4 overs to make before. Has Rohit made a mistake here? Just as you think so, Siraj rocks up Babar's off stump with his classic scramble delivery that goes away on landing. Now let's go slightly deeper in how he orchestrates this pressure on Pakistan. While he employed a spell of his 2 spinners, he brings up the fine leg fielder and pushes back his deep mid-wicket fielder. So if the bowlers are to concede a boundary with such a field, it's probably due to a sweep shot. And so Babar goes for it and immediately gets trapped in Kuldeep's web. He's struck on the pads in front of stump, but DRS saves him on umpire's call. Rizwan goes for it as well, but gets a leading top edge that falls safely. Now by this point they've realized Rohit's plans, but the bowlers persist on their line and lengths, so the 2 batters can either defend or push them straight. This is what causes a low run rate in the phase, and this is what creates the pressure. Sometimes in cricket, especially in ODIs, such moments of dullness or rather series of dots go under the radar of a spectator. But it is these very phases of play that include some really elaborate planning from both the teams. And it is only through these moments when you finally reach that one ball which will make it to the highlights. Amidst all this, did I forget about the third factor? How can I? It's none other than the crowd itself. The atmosphere in all the matches have been beautiful. India's love for the sport screams to the huge attendance of fans at the stadiums. Vande Matram being sung between India's chase during the 2011 World Cup, if you remember, was something that the players then attributed to being a huge motivating factor. So this World Cup, the Indian fans don't miss out on an opportunity to sing their patriotic hymn. Whether it be during the match or after a win, it's almost like Indian fans have found their own chant for the team. So these were the 3 factors that seem to have caused India's dream run so far. Will India go on to lift the title? They can, and they might. But will you subscribe to this channel? You can, and you should.